take one thing like transformation of a human consciousness, which is the consciousness of the world. I hope you understand that it's the consciousness of the world. Each human being is in essence the totality of human experience, knowledge, misery, confusion, all that he is, of which we are, each one of us.
Is this going to be a discussion on a personal level or an intellectual level? I don't understand.
What?
Well, are people going to talk about this subject, which seems to me wishy-washy, or are they going to convey personal experiences of when they were in that isness that you were talking about?
What's that?
When the thinker and the thought aren't separate, that is my experience.
That's what we are going to, sir.
Are we going to tell each other of experiences when we've been in this?
No, this is not a confessional. This is not a group therapy. This is not exposing our personal experience to each other. Because I personally, if you want to do that, you're perfectly welcome, but I won't be here. Because to me it is an absurd, exhibitionism and all the things are involved in it. I've been to some of them and I know what the game is. Conditioning is, or our tradition is, to translate what we hear into an idea, into a concept, into a formula, and live or accept that formula, which prevents us from actually seeing what is. You understand? This is simple, isn't it? Say, for example, one is hurt from childhood, right? Hurt in so many ways. Does one realize, become aware of this hurt? Or you say, yes, it is pointed out that I am hurt, therefore I am hurt. You understand? I wonder if you get this. This is very important because throughout the world we translate the fact into an idea and escape through the idea and not face the fact. Right? So what is it you are doing now when you hear that you are in conflict? And being in conflict, the outward result is violence, brutality, and all the rest of it. Is that a fact or is it a conclusion which you will accept? That's clear, isn't it, what I'm saying? Now, which is it for you? This is very important because if it is an idea, then we are lost. Your idea and my idea. But if we can face the fact, then it is something entirely different. Then each one of us has a communication then. We are dealing with facts, not with ideas. Now, if that is so, if you really see for yourself that being in conflict in oneself, you are bound to create conflict outwardly. Bound to. Right? Now, when you realize that, what has brought about this conflict? Inwardly. You understand there's several factors involved in this. There is a whole group of society, group of people who say change the environment, you understand? Change the social structure through revolution, through blood, through any way, change it, and that will change man. You understand this? This is a communist theory, this is the materialistic theory. Change the environment. The socialist theory, change the environment, the social structure, through legislation, through parliament, through careful analysis and so on, or through revolution, physical revolution, change the environment, the structure of society, then that will change man. Then he will be he will be loving, he will be kind, he will not have conflict, he will be a beautiful human being. And they have tried this umpteen times in different ways. Communists have done it. They have not succeeded in making man different. The whole Christian world has postponed the change of man into something else, as the Hindus and so on. So the fact is we are in conflict, human being. And the fact is, out of that inward conflict, psychological conflict, he must produce outward conflict. Can't be helped. One of the reasons is having ideals. That is, the idea which is opposite of what is, right? What actually is, project through thought an idea, an ideal. So there is a contradiction between what is and what should be. That's one of the factors of this conflict. Then the other factor is we do not know what to do with what is, how to deal with it. Therefore, we use conclusions hoping thereby to alter what is. That's other reason. And inwardly also there are contradictory desires, right? I want one thing and I don't want another thing. I want to be peaceful and yet there is violence in me. We say it's one of the reasons of this conflict is that there is no security for us. Deep, that may be one of the basic reasons of conflict, the lack of security, both psychologically as well as biologically, physically as well as inwardly. You understand? Now, what do you mean by security? Food, clothes, and shelter, right? If that is not given to us, then there is conflict, because you have it and I haven't got it. That's one reason. The other is psychologically, I want to be secure inwardly, right? In my relationship, in my belief, in my faith, in all my action, I want to be completely secure. Now, is that possible? Or we are asking a question which is totally wrong. Please follow this. Psychologically, we want to be secure. Having a relationship that will be completely secure with my wife, with my husband, with my girl or boy. We desire to be completely secure. Is that possible? Wait, careful now. Think about it a little bit. We say it is possible, and we have made it possible. Haven't we? I am quite secure with my wife. And she is quite secure with with me, with the man. But inwardly there is a struggle going on. Now, this security we seek psychologically is what? What is it we are seeking? Psychologically, to be secure with a person. Do you understand my question? I want to be secure with my wife or with my girl. Why? Because you are afraid to be alone. Isn't it?
Yes.
Now, why? Do listen. Why are you frightened to be alone? Asking each other, I want permanent relationship with another. And I hope to find it. And I'm saying, why do I ask permanent relationship with another? You say, I'm frightened to be alone, to be insecure. So I'm using the other, the woman or the man, as a means of to find my anchorage in that, right? My anchorage in another. And I'm frightened if that anchorage is loosened, right? Why? So go slowly. Insecurity. You say, I'm frightened of being insecure. So, wait, insecure. So you exploit another to be secure, which you call love. Huh? You can't. Please remain with this fact. Go, put your teeth into it, find out. If you can find this out, you will find great many things. I want to be secure. Because without being secure, please listen, without being secure, my brain can't function properly. You understand? Efficiently. So the brain demands security. So I want security out of you. And so I depend on you. Right? I'm attached to you. Because I need to be secure. The brain demands it. And if anything happens in my relationship to you, I get uncertain, I get frightened, I get jealous, I hate. Right? Doesn't this happen to all of you? So I'm frightened to be alone, frightened of losing my security. And I say, why? What is behind that fear? Is it I'm frightened to be lonely? To be alone? Not to have something on which to depend? Because I cannot depend on myself. I am frightened of myself. I'm frightened to face myself. Right? I don't know what I am. Therefore, I know what I think I know what you are. Therefore, I depend on you. Because I don't know what I am myself. Because, look, I don't know myself, do I, about myself? All my structure, all my nature, my hurts, my ambitions, my greeds, my arrogance and violence, all that is me, right? And I have not examined all that. I have not gone into myself very, very deeply. So I want security in spite of all that. In something. In a furniture, in a house, in a belief, in a faith, in a wife or a husband. I want security. God, this seems so simple. Don't you want all security? Describe the nature and the structure of thought. He asked that question. The structure of thought. This is the structure of thought. That we want security because we know very well there is no security. You understand? And an earthquake can take place tomorrow, we'll all be wiped out. Or anything can happen. There is no such thing as security, psychologically. If we realize that once, very deeply that there is no such thing as psychological security, then we will not be in conflict. But we don't realize we want security in somebody else. We want security physically, having a house, money, position, prestige. I may not have money, house, but I want prestige. That's my security. I want to be great, and I work for to be great. I may be poor, but I want to be great man, famous man. That's my security. And the other says, my security is in faith. I believe. And it may be neurotic, and all beliefs are neurotic. And there is security in neuroticism. So man is seeking all the time security. And we never realize there is no such thing. Right? Because my wife may run away from me. But if she runs away, I hate, I'm jealous, but I'm going to find another woman or man. And I cling to that. So this goes on all the time. So I'm asking, why do human beings demand security, knowing very well, deeply, inwardly, there is no such thing? Why has the world divided itself geographically, nationally, Hindus, Buddhists, all the rest of it? Why? Because they want security. They feel very secure if you are an Englishman. It doesn't mean promiscuity. That there is no, it is impossible to be attached to a human being. What are you attached to when you are attached to a human being? You are attached to the image that you have created about that human being. Not to the person, but to the image that you have about her or him. Please, this is so obvious. Now, please, we said there is no such thing as security. Do you see that? Not as an idea, not as a conclusion, but an actuality, like the microphone. Do you see it? Please, I'm asking. When we come to the point that there is no psychological security, you know, that's a tremendous thing to observe and realize. Because then our whole activity changes. Do we realize it, or is it an idea with which you're going to be convinced? You understand my question? If it is, why don't you see it as a reality? It's a reality you're sitting there, and it's a reality I'm sitting here. Why don't we see it as actually as that? Is it part of our conditioning? Part of fear? Fear being, my God, I lose my wife, I lose my friend, because in that person I've invested all my hope, my cravings, my demands, sexually and other things. And I suddenly realize there is no such thing as security. Do you know what it means? That's freedom. And we don't want freedom. We'd rather know the state of slavery than the state of freedom. Right, so let's proceed. There it is. I do not see that there is no security. I know I want security. I depend on security in another because it gives me comfort. It gives me a sense of being together, I'm then not lost, I'm not afraid to be alone, then I'm not lonely. All these reasons I cling to you. And I call this whole process of relationship love. I'm not being cynical, please. And that's our conflict. Seeing the fact, not knowing deeply inwardly this fact, and holding on to non-fact. Right? That's our problem. Seeing something as being truth and holding on to something which is not truth. Now, how do you bring about the cessation of this division between this and that? You understand now? That is, I observe very clearly that I need security because I'm so deeply uncertain in myself. I'm so lonely. I'm so lost, confused. And I cling to you. That's one fact. That's a fact also. The other fact is, you have heard somebody say, there is no such thing as security, my friend. And also, you say, by Jove, that is so deeply inwardly. You know it is so. So there are these two facts. So what will you do? How will you bridge these two? Find out. And put my teeth into it. I'm going to find out why this division exists in me, this self-contradiction. Why I cannot see that as I see anger is me, why cannot I see that the whole characteristics, the idiosyncrasies, the vanities, the hurt, is part of me, is me? Why don't you see that? If you see that, then what is the action? There is no action. There is no action. You understand? We are used to action, to do something about ourselves. Therefore, we say, the thing we observe, we separate ourselves from that observed because we think we can do something about it, right? Suppress it, conquer it, analyze it, dissect it, dozen things. That's a part of our education, part of our tradition, part of our culture. But the reality is that which you observe in yourself is you, right? When that really takes place, all action stops with regard to yourself, which we can't accept because it's quite the contrary to all our conditioning. So what happens when you don't waste your energy in conquering, in disciplining, in suppressing? What happens to all that energy? It's all there now, isn't it? Instead of wasting it, you have got it. Look at what is taking place. I started out by realizing that the inward conflict expresses itself outwardly. That's a fact. I started out with that. I realized that this is not an idea, it's an actuality. It's a burning reality to me. That this fact that as long as there's conflict in me, I'll have conflict with my wife, with my friends, with my everything in life. I realize it. It's a fact. You can't take it away from me. Then I say, why does this conflict exist? Because there is contradiction. The contradiction is wanting security and finding no security. That's one factor. And the other factor is that I'm frightened to be alone, frightened to be lonely. Therefore I escape through you, through words, through pictures, through worship, through every form of entertainment, whether religious or otherwise. I escape. So I don't escape. I want to find this out. I will not escape. So I look. So I see why this division exists. Fear. Fear of being completely alone. What is fear? And how do I observe that fear? Is that fear out there and I'm looking at it, or is the fear is me? If it is out there, I can cut it like a tree. I can operate on it. But if it is here, if it's part of me, part of my thinking, what can I do? You understand my question? So, our conditioning is to act on something which we see outwardly, which is fear. When that activity ceases, I'm lost. So I'm frightened. So I said, now, I look at that fear. How do I look at it? I look at it as part of me. It is me that's afraid. Me, the psyche, inwardly. Can I look at it? Can I observe it? I can only observe it if I have a mirror. Understand? As I can observe my face in the mirror, so I can observe myself in my relationship. You understand? The relationship with another is the mirror in which I see my fear. You understand this? So, in that relationship I see my fear. Then I say to myself, is that fear part? I am part of that fear. Therefore, I'm going to just observe it, not act upon it. You understand? Observe it. Therefore, there is only one factor which is really important, which is the clarity of observation. That clarity is prevented when the past, which is me, my knowledge, all the past, prevents me from looking. Do you understand? The observer is the past, his memories, his hopes, his fears. So, as long as the observer is observing fear, he will not go beyond fear. But when the observer is the observed, then you have collected all that energy which you have wasted in struggle, in suppression, in anxiety and all that. You have got now tremendous energy which has not been wasted. When there is that tremendous energy, is there fear? It's only when there is the dissipation of energy, there is fear. Then out of that, what comes next? You are eager to find out what comes next because you don't do it first. There's lots more. Because then there is the total freedom to observe and silence. Observation means silence, isn't it? If my mind is chattering, I can't observe you. Right? If my mind says, I don't like that color, I don't like that face, I prefer black or brown or purple, I can't observe you. So I must first be aware of my prejudices, put them away, and then be free of them and look. But you don't want to do all that. You want to reach instant heaven. Which is transcendental meditation. Most of it, unfortunately. So, at the moment of that feeling, that sensation, there is no recognition of it as anger, right? Right? Then comes the recognition that I am angry, I have been angry. Now, how does that recognition take place?
Because of my past.
Because you have been angry before.
Yes.
So, when you say I have been angry, you have recognized it because you have been angry before. So, the past is dictating what you should do. Right? Careful, listen, watch it in yourself. When you are angry, actual moment, there is no feeling of anger. Then thought comes along and says, I have been angry. Thought is essentially the movement of the past, right? Now, can you stop that movement of that past? And not name it. You know what jealousy is. And you have been jealous at the moment there's this feeling. Why does thought take it over? You understand my question? Why does thought come in and say, well, I've been jealous, or I am jealous? Why? Huh?
You're not there when you're jealous.
What's that?
You're not there when you're jealous. When you say, I am jealous, then you come into being.
Yes. Why does it happen? Why don't you say, yes, there is that feeling and leave it alone? Why do you say, I've been jealous? And act from that jealousy, hate and all the rest of it, anger.
Because you need to identify it.
Because it makes you feel insecure.
Yes. And also, it's my house, my wife, my name, my form, my country, my God, my faith. You follow? It's part of your tradition. Culture which says me, mine. So all the past comes over and takes charge. Now we're asking, are you aware of this movement of the past taking charge of things? Are you aware of it? Actually, not as a theory, as an actuality. Which means that you live in the past. Therefore you are dead. Say, for instance, that the totality of hurt. You understand? Human beings are hurt, right? From childhood. School, college, the whole business of existence. You are hurt, which is you have an image about yourself which is hurt. Do you see that as an actuality? If you see that as an actuality, that you are, the very essence of you is hurt, then what will you do about it? The past hurts, and you say, and you want to prevent future hurts. Can the past hurts be wiped away so that you can never be hurt? Which doesn't mean you become like a stone. Never to be hurt. See, you never ask these questions. Ask them.
If you are secure, then you can be insecure without losing this security.
Also,
If you lose security, then you are hurt.
so why are you hurt? What is you who are hurt? What is the you? The image you have about yourself. No? I'm a Christian, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Hindu, I'm proud, I'm vanity. You follow? You are, all that's you. Or you think you are God, or superior spiritual something inside you which is above all this, which is again a process of thought. Right? So that the process of thought is hurt. And how do you prevent future hurts? Not by resistance, not by withdrawal, not by becoming more and more hard. Have you ever, do you want to wipe out your hurts? Or do you love your hurts? Now, do please. I am doing that, sir. We are doing it. Do you want to keep your hurts? There is great pleasure in keeping them. Because that gives you vitality, energy to hurt somebody else. So if you want to be free of all hurts, what will you do? So that you are never, under any circumstances, in your relationship with the world or with your friend, never to be hurt. You know what it means? To have a mind that is incapable of being hurt. Hurt also, which is the other side, is flattery. Both are the same. So, is it possible to end this being hurt? Huh? Do you want to find out? Huh? Quelle heure est-il? Moins 10. Oh. I better stop. All right. Piano. Do you really want to go into this? All right, sir, I'll do it for you. But do it. You say not just live with words and ideas, but do it. Because then you are free from, then then you blossom in goodness, you flower in goodness then. What is hurt? I'm going to go into it. Don't go verbally, but actually look at yourself and go into yourself. You are hurt. Your parents hurt you when you are a child. Your friends when you are a child or a boy hurt you psychologically. Then in the school they hurt you by saying you must be as clever as your brother or your uncle or your headmaster or whatever. You must, and then college you pass exams, and if you fail you're hurt. And if you don't get a job you're hurt. Everything in the world is put together so that it hurts you. Our education, which is so rotten, hurts you. So, you are hurt. Do you actually realize that you are hurt? And see the results of being hurt. You don't want to hurt others. From that arises anger, resistance. You withdraw, become more and more inwardly separate. And the more you are inwardly separate, withdrawing, the more you are hurt. So you build a wall around yourself and pretend that you are very, but always within the wall. These are all the symptoms. So you are hurt. And if you really deeply realize that you are hurt, not only at the conscious level, but deep down, then what will you do? Now, how does this hurt take place? Because you have an image about yourself. Suppose if I have an image about myself that I'm always sitting on a platform talking to an audience. Thank God I don't. And if the audience disapproves or doesn't come, I'm hurt. Because I have an image about myself. So the fact is, as long as I have an image about myself, that image is going to be hurt. Right? That's clear, isn't it? Huh? Now, is it possible to live without a single image? Which means no conclusions, which is a form of image, no prejudice, no, you follow? All these are images. And at the moment when you insult me, which is at the moment you say something contrary to the image that I have about myself, then you hurt me. Now, at that moment, when you are saying something that is harmful, hurtful, if I am aware of what you are saying, give my total attention to what you are saying. You understand? At the second, when you want to hurt me by saying something, I give my attention to it. Then there is no registration taking place. You understand this? It is only when there is inattention the registration of hurt takes place, or flattery. Now, can you give, when somebody says you are a fool, can you, at that moment, can you give your total attention? If you do, then there is no hurt. The past hurts have gone in that attention, which is, attention is like a flame that burns out the past and present hurt. Have you got this? Is that enough?